all you fantastic dreamers out there, and welcome to the Dreamers Live podcast. Today's conversation is entitled Surrender? When does acceptance become the best path moving forward? When does acceptance allow us to get on with the things that we really care about? Well, that's our discussion today, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. So sit back and join the conversation.
This podcast is a presentation of Pioneer Dream, celebrating 30 years of moving stories for our corporate, nonprofit, and entertainment partners.
Well, hello, all you fellow dreamers out there, and welcome back to the Dreamers Live podcast.
Yes, welcome indeed.
We're coming to you live from the Pioneer Dream Lair here in the center of the known universe.
I've noticed that you're already using your podcasty voice. It's more
What podcasty voice?
It's kind of like an NPR voice.
You know what it is? It's a voice that calms people.
Is
and
that it?
And I'm just keeping it now. When I talk to people and have conversations with them.
You just talk like this all the time.
Like a counselor.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's good.
You can't say the house is on fire with this voice.
Well, you can say it, but you're going to feel fine about it.
It wouldn't mean anything at all.
Anyway, I apologize. Go ahead with your intro.
Let me start again. Hello, friends.
Hi, friends.
And welcome back to the Dreamers Live podcast. I am joined by that other voice, which is Anjanette, my co-conspirator.
That's me.
Yes.
Fair warning. I'm sipping an illicit Diet Coke right now.
But is there a coaster involved?
Yeah, of course, because
Yeah,
you're always a
thank you.
coaster
I appreciate
person.
that.
So annoying. I know Diet Coke is bad for
It's
me,
like
guys.
dressing
it's just
it up.
Every
You know
once
what I mean?
in a
It's
while.
not, like having a coaster is like saying, hey, we're having more of an experience. It's like it's dressing the whole experience up a little bit.
You think so?
Takes
Like
it up
a
a notch.
cocktail napkin?
You're not bare fist fighting and putting your Coke down on a bare table. It just, come on.
No, but
have some class.
I
have
wouldn't
some
really say
procedure.
that my styrofoam cup from OnCue is classing anything up right now.
Well, my beer stein is, so there you go.
We are rowdy today.
Okay.
Apologize.
Yeah. How's things for you?
Things are good.
Yeah.
Like, I know that Diet Coke is bad for me.
Oh,
and
yeah. No,
that's
it's
why,
killing you right now.
Hey, I don't drink it all the time. Sometimes you've got allergy head and it's been a rough life and you need some.
I read something, came across something that was like, like every hot dog you consume
Yes.
takes like 30 minutes off your life or something like that.
I don't know. It's
or
pretty
3
delicious,
days
though.
or 3 years. I don't know, whatever it was.
Okay. Was
And,
it 30 minutes or 3 years? That's a big difference.
Yeah, well, we'll find out, I guess. But, that's the kind of thing like with a Diet Coke, you're kind of like that. Like,
Yeah.
how much time am I rolling
Right.
off by drinking the aspartame
Yes.
and whatever else is in here?
Aspartame, right? I know. I know that it's bad, and I know I'm going to have twice as much water today. But right now, I'm feeling pretty good.
Well, it's about the cut is really what it is. The carbonated cut. You know what I mean? Like you can drink straight caffeine from some other source. Like you could let something out, but the cold hard cut of a caffeinated
it is so
beverage
good.
is,
Okay, the other day we were out working in the garden,
Yes.
which makes us sound super sexy and young. But we were, and it was like one of those first warm days of spring where you like I put one of my skirts on with these white
you
legs
did.
were flashing, and it was like, woo!
giving the neighborhood a treat.
Yeah,
There you
well,
go.
something. They're very wintry looking. Anyway, lotion would help. That's a whole other conversation.
I did notice that parents were making their kids look away as they drove by. Like, don't hurt your eyes, Junior.
Quick, put your sunglasses on. Anyway, I was out there and it got kind of warm and I got a thirst and I thought I need to go get a big glass of water. But instead, there was a bottle of Coke Zero, a small one, that was in there and it hadn't even been opened yet.
Oh, yeah.
And I cracked that puppy and I took the biggest slug of
Yeah.
it and it just burned to perfection.
Yeah.
And I thought, nothing is better. It's
Yeah.
only the first couple of sips.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It was so good, cutting through everything.
When you turn that lid for the first time, and it's like a greeting. It's like a hello,
Yes.
like a
Yeah. It's so refreshing,
almost
right?
like the Lawrence Welk champagne pop there.
Yeah. And then I was really thirsty. So after those 2 slugs, which were magical, I had to drink a bunch of water. But
Yeah. That's the way we are.
And it kind of transported me back in time. Because do you remember, when we used to do the Heart of Town Market and did all that volunteering in the summer, I would wait. We'd have this cooler with Diet Cokes in it. And I would wait till I got mid-morning and we'd made it from 5 a.m. through all the volunteering. It'd be like 10:30 and we would crack one of those and be like, whoa, it was so good.
Those were innocent times, friends.
They were.
That was the hardest we got was a a chilled Diet Coke from the cooler.
Since then, we have
things
found
changed.
other carbonated beverages. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's
Please
okay.
continue
That's
with
why
your
we're here.
podcast.
Yeah. Last time we we talked about why we persist. So this idea of, you go through hard times, there are difficult things, and sometimes they don't have visible finish lines, and then you have to decide, am I going to continue to be, who I feel like I'm made to be? Am I going to continue to fight for good or for justice or whatever, and do all that stuff in the face of what seems like challenges and all that kind of stuff? And I had an interesting conversation this morning, and sometimes you get this, you'll get a phrase or an idea, and it kind of comes from a couple of different sources, and you think to yourself, oh, this is kind of like for me, an idea whose time has come.
Yeah.
Apparently there's something that's being spoken to me, and I need to
Some
pay attention.
concept, and then before you know it, you've maybe not thought of it much before,
Right.
and then it's
And
come from a
almost
few
always
different
like
places.
some kind of growth moment or something where you can kind of, this will bring more freedom or more ease
Were you
in my
having
life.
an interesting conversation with someone other than me?
Oh, that's impossible. But, it
Well,
would,
it certainly wasn't as interesting as one with me would be.
right, exactly right.
So the word pops in.
So,
or phrase.
so in this conversation, this is, I'll kind of give you a couple different places where this came in and we can talk about it a little bit. So I'm having a conversation with a friend today, and hello, shout out to Richard. And
What's up, Richard?
And so he was talking about this family member, longtime family member, of course, and within this family member's relationship, there's just a lot of difficulty, a lot of challenge, and in the back of his mind, he's always lived with this thought of someday, we're going to turn a corner here, and this person's going to get it, and there'll be some understanding, and maybe some reconciliation, and maybe we can all move on with things. And then he had this awareness, a week or two ago, where he thought, well, what happens if they don't change?
Yeah.
What happens if this stays the same?
Yeah.
What do I do?
Yeah.
And I thought that's an interesting thing. And it kind of went with stuff I've been reading in the same book. We've talked about this book a lot, the 4,000 Weeks book, which kind of reorients how we all look at time. And, for us, I think, maybe about 5 or 6 years ago, I started seeing time in a different way.
Yeah.
Probably because, now that we're 30 plus.
The birthday numbers get larger.
Yeah, you start thinking, how much time do I have here?
Yeah.
And what semester am I in? And and so that has become more pressing, I would say, in a lot of other ways. And so this book kind of helps reframe some of that, and it's really, really great. And so,
I wish you'd finish it so I can start it. You're so close.
But part of this thing has kind of been, and I really hate this word because I have so many friends who misuse it, in a way that gets tired for me. But this word surrendering to something, I just hate it. But what he kind of uses it in this context that, in a sense, there are these things we bump up against in our lives that we kind of rail against or fight against, of which we have no control over, like time.
Right.
And he says, if you can kind of surrender to the concept of time, of how much time you have or what the average life expectancy is or any of that kind of stuff, if you can surrender to that, then you can begin, which is an active thing. It's not a wimpy or defeated thing.
It's not giving up.
No,
it's an acceptance.
It's saying, acceptance is a great word for it. So it's looking at the rules of the universe, the rules of life on this planet, and saying, okay, those are the rules. I know that. I accept the rules. I don't have any control over changing how long I live or what country I'm born into. All those kinds of things. This is it. This is what I have. So now that I can accept that, now I can decide what I want to do with it. Now that I'm not fighting or railing against it, I can decide, okay, this is the time I have. So what do I want to do with that time?
Sure,
How do I want to do this? And same thing for our finances. We can always be pleading for more money or looking for more money or looking for jobs, different jobs and all that stuff.
Right.
Sometimes that's under control. A lot of times for very many of us, it's not. Most of us are not going to have what would be deemed enough money at some level.
Yeah.
So then you can say, well, this is the money that I have. At least this is the money I have right now.
Yeah.
how do I want to spend that? What do I want to do with that? That financial picture may change in the future at some point, but this is what it is today. So now what do I do? So it's not a statement about long-term planning or any of those kinds of things. It's really about saying, okay, so for example,
Yes, give me an
I
example.
had to go to a store, in the last couple of weeks.
Was it Lowe's?
It was not Lowe's Depot.
You're always at Lowe's.
It was not. If I don't go to Lowe's in like 2 weeks, they call do a wellness
Oh my
check.
God, you're there daily. If Angela said the other day, she goes, she came home and she was like, Dad at Lowe's. It was just sort of like, she didn't say where was
Right.
Dad.
Yeah. So I have to go to another store that's not the Lowe's Depot,
Okay.
and there's a clothing rack thing there, and there's some sell shirts, and I thought, oh, well, that kind of looks like something that might work for the summer. And I'm always looking for like a handful of like 2 or 3 things that you can rotate in a season and say these are the shirts.
Yeah.
So you don't have to make as
On
many
the clearance
decisions.
rack.
Well, you
Sure.
don't have to make as many. I don't want to ever pay full anything for a shirt. Or
I don't think I've
pants or
paid more than
clothing.
$12 for a
Oh my
clothing
gosh.
item. I don't know.
And if I was a millionaire tomorrow, I would
wouldn't do
still
that.
be spending.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
So anyway, I'm at the sell rack thing. There's a shirt that looks like it might work for the summer and everything. And I think, okay, great. I'm going to try that on. And so I go back and they give me the little check number that says this is the number of garments you have. And then they point me to the rooms that are open. And I go to the room that's open.
You went to try it on?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. That's
so then
bold.
I go in there and it's always it's a funny thing because I wear glasses most of the time now, and so I have to take the glasses off, then you have to disrobe, and you have to put get the shirt, and then you're thinking, do I put the glasses back on? So I
Yeah,
can see the shirt
it's a
and all
whole
that.
deal.
And so somewhere in that process, we do a lot to take care of ourselves. We work out, and not just like a casual walk after dinner or before dinner, but like real workout stuff. So maybe 4 to 5 times a week we work out.
Yes.
And then even
high
on the
intensity,
weekends,
and we eat well most of the
and then on
time.
the weekends we are very active and work in the garden and the yard and all that kind of stuff a lot. So it's a pretty active lifestyle by choice.
I mean, except for the occasional Diet Coke and hot dog.
Well, yeah, that's 45 minutes off your life. And then, so I'm in there and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to try on the shirt and everything. And somewhere in the process of taking one set of clothing off to put another set of clothing
I just
on,
can't believe you did this. Yeah.
catch the side eye of myself in a mirror.
Were your glasses on?
And they good enough that I could see. And I looked, and then I have to do the head tilt and turn to the mirror. And I'm like, what the filth? Why are we even trying? There's moobs and things are hanging out, and you're just like,
It's man boobs.
yeah,
Moves,
and
yes.
I'm just like, what? Why?
You just don't look. I could have told you not to look.
We've been doing the workout stuff for years.
It doesn't,
and eating
help,
right.
I
And how many conscious decisions have I made about
Yeah.
food?
Yeah.
And what to put in my body and what
On
not
the
to put.
daily.
And then I'm just looking in the mirror and just what?
Don't put your
Why?
glasses on. You got first off,
And
why?
it just ruined me for days.
Okay, first off, you look super cute. But secondly, why the heck would you go and try something on? Those mirrors are death.
I don't want to take things back. And if it's on a sale thing, I'm like, am I going to take a $4 shirt back, or do
Yeah.
I just live with it, or just donate
Well,
it, or
now
what?
you're left with this crushing image of yourself. Your self-esteem has been lowered. It was worth the $4.
It's been devastating. I've not been the same since. And then
It's only funny because this is my entire life,
Well,
and now you're experiencing
well,
it.
and here's the thing. So, most of my life, not earned, I've been, I was,
Yes, you were born tall and thin.
I was born tall and
not
thin. So I was
totally not
born
fair.
in the 75 percentile for height and the bottom 25 percentile for weight when I was
Yes,
born.
and I've resented you ever since I caught you.
And then I stayed, a skinny kid all my life until about middle school when I found swimming on the swim team, and then I put on a little
got
bit of
some
muscle.
muscles.
And so I've essentially lived like that for most of my life, even most of my adult life, and it's been nice. And so now I'm doing all the work, and nothing is working.
Yeah,
And-
welcome to my world of my whole life.
And so then I'm left with that, and I'm thinking, okay, what do I do with this? And then, like today, I just had the thought, okay, this is a bit of the surrender. So apparently, living on this planet does certain things to your body over time.
Yes, gravity,
Yeah,
I guess.
and your metabolism changes, and your elasticity changes, and all this stuff, and so I there is a certain amount of acknowledging these are the rules.
Yeah.
This is what happens. And you can rail against it, and you can be anxious about it, and you can fret about it, and you can feel horrible about yourself about it, and all that kind of stuff. Or you can say, okay, this is what generally happens to most humans. Your eyesight begins to change. Your hearing begins to change. Your body shape begins to change. You don't look like you were 25 anymore. And you can accept those rules. Now, for me, that's a moment of surrender, or that's a moment of acceptance, and I feel a weight lift off of me.
Really?
And I can also say, now, am I going to try and get everything out of my body that I can in this moment? Yeah. I mean, that's what we've been doing for a long time. So I'm going to continue to eat healthy.
Yeah,
I'm going
it's not like you're going to give up exercising.
I'm still going to go to the doctor whenever I need to. I'm still going to do everything I can for my blood pressure. I'm still going to do everything I can to be healthy and to maximize my body in this lifetime. But I can also acknowledge that what that maximizing looks like is going to be different today than it was 15 years ago or 10 years ago or 5 years ago.
Yeah. And it also can be good in that it replaces sort of the reward system that we have, or the expectancy. You have to look a little bit beyond why it is you do what you do.
Right.
It's the same thing we've gone through. You know, if you grow up and you're a musician and you think, oh, I could be famous, or I could at least have a big audience to enjoy what I'm doing. And then life goes on and that doesn't happen. And you think, do I still want to do this?
Right.
Why do I persist? All those questions. And the same with the physicality of what you're dealing with, which is, exercise is not going to equal looking a certain way anymore. It used to for you. It never has for me. but my point is, then you say, why? Okay, well, I could quit, or why do I continue to do this? And then you replace it with, well, I want to feel better. So I want to be around for our daughter longer. You know, and it can be. Acceptance, I think, can be healthy if we can get to that.
I think acceptance gives you the opportunity to celebrate what you do have.
Yeah.
So, okay, this is what happens. And so I'm grateful that I happen to live in America. I'm grateful that I happen to have this level of physicality right now. I'm grateful for when so many other people are struggling at that level that I have this. And so I think there's a certain amount of, I think without acceptance, it's very difficult to have gratitude. Without accepting where you are in a moment and what the rules are, you're always focused on what you don't have.
Yeah.
You're always focused on what's not here yet. You know, so if I am anxious about finances all the time, really what I'm focused on is the lack. I'm not focused on, okay, this is what I have right now. That's great. Let's see what I can do with this. This is the amount of time I have right now. This is great. Let's see what we can do with this. Let's make some decisions on that. You know, you were just talking about creative endeavors. And, so acknowledging that we're at a certain place in our lives where maybe we won't be able to achieve some of the things we thought or hoped to do when we were 20.
Or set out.
But we have these talents.
So how do we use them now?
Acceptance is saying, I'm probably never going to be famous for X. I'm probably never going to reach a level of Y. So now what do I want to do with what I have?
Yeah.
And so,
but you're right. Unless you acknowledge that, which I think takes some humility.
Oh, yeah.
Then you will just continue to fight for those things that you initially thought were going to be so valuable, but they're not happening.
It will interrupt the enjoyment you could have along the way.
Yeah, yeah. And wouldn't that be sad to have spent your whole life not accepting those things? And so in essence, sort of wasting what you have left?
I think so. I mean, I think that's it.
That's hard though. And don't you think that's, I think there's some days where, you're going to wake up and you're going to say, okay, I accept this. I surrender. And a lot of times looking at other people and their successes, then you have those days where it seems like somebody else is doing so much better than you are and on those other ways. And envy can set in like, well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's part of it too. I think in this surrender moment, there is a weird thing out there that, that we fall into. And it also gets kind of into this book. But this idea that there's something else always out there.
Yeah.
There's a better car, there's a better marriage, there's a better job, there's a better country, there's a better thing out there. And so again, it's the lack.
Yeah.
I would be happier if I got to what I don't have.
Well, and in an age like never before, where there's also so many advantages to living when we do, but all of that is within our plain sight.
Right.
I mean, like, think about the concept of, do you remember when it first came out? It seems so old now, but Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous.
Sure.
Do you remember that show? What was his name? Rodney somebody.
Yeah.
It'll come to me. But until television really came, and then of course with social media, it's everywhere, would we have even known or been
Right.
able to see these incredible mansions that these people were, living in, or
Right.
these incredible experiences? So I do think, not to dog social media because it's a useful tool, but as we all know, we're in this online culture, so we're bombarded by images all day long unless we protect ourselves.
Right.
And then it's harder to surrender because
they
it seems
kinda
like
picked
others
up,
have it.
Magazines, I think, did this a lot
Of course,
for a
yeah.
long, long time. So, you're checking out the supermarket and then there's a magazine there.
Yeah,
And
that was probably the first thing, really.
yeah.
Pictures.
and then I think social media and especially Instagram and Pinterest and, those sites, they kind of really notched it up. But it was always that
right.
somebody else looks so much better than you and so much healthier than you.
Yeah.
And is having so much better sex than you're having.
Of course.
And is earning so much more money than you're having. And not only that, they make this amazing meatloaf that you could never replicate, but here's the recipe anyway.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. And so the idea of someone else is doing it much better than you're doing it, is really in this setting this envy cycle up.
Oh yeah, and it'll run your mind and heart ragged, chasing after it.
It just makes you so unhappy with everything you have.
Yes.
And it's amazing. So now we get into this thing, even kind of beyond our personal life. So the idea of saying a certain level of surrender that, okay, this is my job today, or this is my
spouse today.
This is my spouse today. This is my age today. This is my family today. This is my scenario. These are the things I really cannot control, to some extent. So what can I do with that? So that there's a certain amount of that surrender is really, really healthy for us. But then there gets to be a certain level of surrender on the world around us too.
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah.
this idea that, especially with the news cycle, we're constantly getting this message of all the things that are happening in the world. And as, naturally empathetic people, we feel a level of responsibility for those things. So
Yeah.
the government's doing this, or this politician's doing that, or someone said this, or this is happening over in this country, or this plight
the
is
super
coming
sad
on.
stories of
Yeah,
tragedy.
So, some level of that surrender would say that is the world we live in.
Yeah.
That is the place where we are in. And no matter how badly I feel or want, I cannot change that. That's the surrender.
Yeah.
No matter what I want to happen with Ukraine right now, what I want will not change what's actually happening in Ukraine right now.
Yeah.
That is the surrender of the world we live in. That's the acknowledgement. And the same thing with government, same thing with our, the community we live in. We like so many cities, have a whole level, increase of homelessness
Yeah.
and home insecurity and on and on and on. And so, we take steps towards trying to help that in our community and stuff. But the reality is that is where we are right now as a country. That's where we are right now in this world. So there's a certain level of surrender that I cannot fix that.
Yeah.
I cannot change that. And probably some of the level of that surrender will allow you to address that topic in a way that you can influence, but not necessarily run you ragged or kill you in the process. So if you happen to be going to dinner, now you don't have to lose the night because of somebody else's challenges.
Yeah.
In the same way.
You're good at helping me with that, because I tend to be overly empathetic, and that doesn't make me a better person. It's just sort of the way that I'm wired.
Right.
And so that can be a good quality because you see
Yes.
people's needs and you are aware of people's emotions. It can also be exhausting because
Right.
And in a way, if I feel like I'm the one who has to fix everything,
Right.
and I think women especially, not always just women, but can struggle with this, I have to, it can, in a weird way, become a self-importance. Like, well, I saw this and I've got to do something to fix this. And so on the surface, it looks good and it is, I think, well motivated, but then it's real easy to get wrapped up in feeling like you're the only one who can do that. I think that maybe the question, and you help me with that, you'll say, there's only so much that we can do. And what do you think we should do? Let's do this. And then we let it go.
Right.
And so maybe part of that surrender is taking yourself out of the mix.
Yeah.
And saying, I can't fix homelessness.
Right.
I can help this person with this thing.
Right.
Or I can give money to this group, or, that type of thing. I don't know what you think about.
Yeah.
Does that help you discern
I think in this conversation, in the 4,000 weeks conversation, there's part of that too, like saying, okay, you as a human have limited resources, both emotionally, physically, financially, whatever. So it is a matter of saying, what can I do? And then it's a matter of saying, okay, it's not that any of these things are not important, wars and poverty and escalations and all those things. So then we have to say, okay, here's the list of all the things that matter to me that are going on, all the places where there are fires in the world. Yeah. So I can probably only impact one or two of those.
Yeah.
So what are the one or two that I'm going to impact?
That are most important.
What are the one or
to
two that it's not about hardening yourself to the other fires.
Right.
It's not about not doing, but it's about, okay, I could give pennies to all these things, or I can give $100 to this thing and it will actually impact something. It will actually make good happen. And so
I think I think that's important, and it's another thing that can, another good side of that can come from aging and like surrendering to that is the fact that you only have so much time to give, so you become more acutely aware of that. So then you're able to look maybe at your own skill set and say, these are the things that I'm really I would love to help the puppies and the whales and the junior high kids.
Right.
But the truth is, I'm not near the whales and I'm allergic to puppies, but I do get to be around junior high kids, middle school kids a lot, and I seem to be good at that. So let me take the gifts I have for that and put more of my energy into that. Do you think it can help you discern that surrender?
For me, it seems like maybe one of the key indicators, like if you have as we talk about this concept a lot, that your car has a dashboard and it has warning lights, and the warning lights pop up and it draws your attention to these things. So the warning light comes on and it says, hey, your tire is low on air. And so it draws your attention to the fact that that's low on air. Let's resolve that. So I think a warning light for me is anxiety. If I have anxiety about something in my life, it likely means that I've not surrendered something in that moment. So if I am anxious about finances, it likely means that I'm not surrendering to the idea of where we are in that moment and what's possible. And I think most of anxiety is saying, here's something that you can't change, and yet you struggle to change it.
Yeah.
So here's something that's out of your reach, and now it's that kind of stuff. That's where anxiety happens. You get anxious about the future of which you have absolutely no control over.
And you tried to control it.
And so the anxiety steps in.
And so it's like this tension.
Tension, yeah.
Yeah, within yourself, yeah.
We have a kid, and I think everyone who has a child, or even if you're related to people who have children and you want the best for them, there's a certain level of anxiety that sneaks in terms of their safety, or in terms of the choices they'll make and all that kind of stuff.
It's like a daily choice.
And in some ways, part of the surrender is to acknowledge up front they're going to make a bad choice.
Yeah,
that's going to happen. So. We will continue to do everything we can to empower her to make good choices.
Right.
We will model all that we can to help in that process. But I need to come to the awareness that somewhere in there that she's going to make a bad choice.
Yeah.
And that is part of life. And that stuff kept me up at night when you were pregnant.
Yeah.
Just thinking about all the choices that I had made, thinking about how bad some of those choices could have gone if I had, without grace or whatever else. And so thinking about that for her, it would really keep me up. Just thinking, I don't want her to be hurt in the same way I was hurt. I don't want her to have these, but that is life on this planet.
Yeah, exactly.
And very few of those choices are game enders. You know, most of those things, even the bad experiences that I went through, that you went through, that most of us go through, are things that later colored who we are,
Absolutely.
helped
They
us to be more
taught us.
empathetic,
Yeah.
changed, we went through, without a lot of details, you go through, sometimes you're in a car situation, like in traffic or something like that, and you narrowly miss an accident or something like that. And something about that just draws your awareness or attention, like, oh man, I really need to be more aware now. And it helps you that same way. Well, sometimes the mistakes we go through, that's what it does. It just makes us better at stuff.
Yeah.
And so,
And that's this is a tough time, I think, to be a parent, and it's the first and only time that we'll do it.
Right.
But having a 13-year-old, all of a sudden, there's something different about even like middle school, 6th grade.
Yeah.
It starts in 6th grade, but then all of a sudden they hit 7th grade. It's different. Because you can remember what you were going through when you were 13 and those things and how much development was going on. And so there's been a lot for me, and I think for you, especially this year, there's been a lot of having to let go.
Yeah.
Having to surrender and say, okay,
Yeah.
she's going to have to learn this on her own.
Right.
All that we can do is hope and pray and love. And this is her life.
Right.
And so separating and surrendering out, and it's tough. And I think I'll go through periods where I'm doing better with it, and then I'm not.
And every kid is different, every family is different, and all that stuff. And at her age, when we were kids, I was spending whole, both my parents worked at the time, so I'd spend whole days at home alone, for the summer, for every summer. So
amazing.
my parents would get up and go to work. I'd be at the house.
It was a different time. We talked about that being raised in the 70s and early 80s, 70s
it was,
and 80s.
and then you just middle around the house, and then eventually you would find yourself outside, and you guys
make a
would
bloody
play
sandwich or
and
whatever.
do all that stuff, and so.
You watched a lot of Perry Mason, which explains a lot.
Man. Yeah, I did. There was a little trifecta. I don't remember all of them right now. There's a little trifecta that the network had on at the time, and it was really, it's a good hour and a half.
We did a lot of Green Acre. There was Nickelodeon had a lot of reruns.
I didn't do any of that stuff. It was
Beverly Hillbillies.
I did. None of that's important. You're trying to take me in a rabbit hole.
I'm really sorry.
No, what I was going to say was that, even like last weekend was, so, this is not a big deal for a lot of people, but for us, we left her at home. We went out to go take care of some stuff, and she's of age. She can do that. Yeah. But I found myself very anxious the entire time. Yeah. What if she gets on an iPad and social media without us there? Yeah. What if somebody
knocks on the door?
What if we have rules for our house and for her and everything else, and she chooses that moment to completely disobey them or whatever, go against that? Well, what happens if she hurts herself in some form or fashion? All those things. And so I was really anxious the entire time we were away, and then I thought to myself, that's going to happen, and you have to be okay. There are very few things that she's going to do that are going to be irreparable, irreparable. But she's probably going to do those things. Yeah. She's going to break rules, and that's going to happen, and all this kind of stuff. And which is so funny because my dad was a very anxious and controlling kind of person, and the idea that somehow he could leave me home alone for all that period of time is amazing to me. Yeah. And I think of myself as more relaxed than him, but the reality is it's just where you put your focus.
Yeah, he really evolved and was very loving. But and he would say that he struggled with anxiety, and I think everyone struggles with the anxiety part of it. Some of us struggle more with stopping trying to control others out of that fear, anxiety, and that's where we're at now, which is just, okay,
So if you or the listening audience at home, if you pause for just a second and you think to yourself, where does the majority or the biggest amount of anxiety come into my life? What are the things I am most anxious about? And then what does that possibly tell us about the things that we are not surrendering, and then the things that are, really beyond our control that we're still fighting? Because It is a weird thing. That's why surrender has such a bad connotation to so many of us. It feels like giving up or quitting or whatever.
Yeah.
But the reality is what it is saying is, here's something I have no control over, which I'm expending a tremendous amount of energy on and strength and everything else. It's keeping me from doing the things that I can control. And it's a waste. It's an absolute draw, waste, depletion of who I am. So what are those things for us individually?
That we are having trouble surrendering?
Yeah. Well, if we use this test, this dashboard light of anxiety, which I think is pretty accurate, then that should tell us the things that we're struggling with to surrender.
Yeah. Do you want me to make a verbal list right now in front of everybody?
Well, you can just mention one if you
well, there's several things, if I'm honest about it. For me, on kind of a lower level, if I get anxious about my body and how it looks and my appearance, which is really ingrained into young women early on, I feel like more than for men, even though I know logically that none of that matters, that I am my soul, etc. But, what we started talking about, if I let upset about that or the way I look despite my best efforts or the way my body doesn't cooperate or feels, that can cause anxiety. It's something that I don't externalize to anyone, but I will beat myself up about it and it will dominate my thought cavern. And for me, a lot of times it'll be, running into somebody that looks a certain way. And what's funny is I would never be as harsh to anyone else as I am to myself. So that's something that I struggle with, honestly. And I think a lot of women do. Women that weren't born with the tall, thin. I'm so grateful our daughter's built like you because I didn't want to watch her suffer through that again. She'll have her own challenges and she does. But, so that can cause, that's on a lower level, but definitely the parental thing. I mean, the idea that, that person could be, this is some deep shit, excuse me, everyone, but that you would have a person, this is what every parent goes through in their life, that you love and adore, and then they become intertwined, and the fact that they could be taken from you is the deepest. And
also that they are eventually they're an autonomous individual.
Yes, yeah, exactly. That part to me is okay. But I have to really fight, especially
But you're not freaked out about the idea that someday she might go to college and make all kinds of decisions and choices and all that stuff?
No. I am, but I am, but I also, as long as she's around, and she's okay. So I do worry about that, but I also can see that she's smart and kind, and I feel like she'll be okay. Yeah. It's really the fear side of what could happen to her physically that probably causes me the most anxiety. And then, and then the anxiety about the biggest one that I probably struggle with, and I'm really trying to come to terms with it. It's tough, though. We've always had so many ambitions and so many things we wanted to do in our life. And so with each passing birthday or momentum of time or change in the school year, like we're getting ready, you've already rolled your eyes at me today because I was like, I do a little bit of substitute teaching, and there's a couple teachers that I'm kind of, they're particularly preferred sub. So they sent me with these dates, and I was like, we're really too busy.
You're a premium sub.
A premium sub. Substitute of the year, maybe, if they had that award.
Please, that's not an award I deserve. Go ahead.
But I'd like to have more time to be able to do that and also do all the things we're doing, but I can't.
Because I'm trying to not do anything. I don't want to do it any more than I have to do it.
But I realized when I looked that these dates were for April, and that Evangeline's 7th grade year is going to be over in 5 weeks. And all of a sudden, it was literally like this sickness in my stomach. It's this passage of time.
What do you remember about graduating from 7th grade?
Nothing. It's not a graduation.
Oh my gosh.
No, they do a graduation 8th grade. But the point, and then also for me, it makes me anxious because I really love people like you do too.
Yeah.
And I've invested a lot of time at Central.
Yes.
And I knew it would be short. 3 years at a middle school is very short, but we've invested a lot there.
It's not been 12 years?
And then next year is the last year.
Yeah.
And so in essence, I feel like I'm still getting over all the people I missed from her elementary school.
Yeah.
And I will miss what we've built there and the friendships and relationships. So the passage of time really is difficult for me.
Yes.
I mean, it makes me tear up now. I'm really working through it. Yeah. I know that I'm going to die someday.
Right.
And I know that we'll lose people that we love. And you know these things. But you can either let time be like water that's coming through your fingers and you're trying to grasp it, or you can let it be. And so that's difficult. I mean, I'm sharing my deepest anxiety, but it's that time will pass by before I've accomplished the things that I feel like I was meant to do.
Yes.
And time will pass by and then we'll be gone.
Right.
And it's just hard to
Yeah.
come to grips with. So I went to my deepest anxieties. Would you like to share yours?
Well, I think those are all really
I
common.
think
What's
everyone has
ironic
that.
about those fears outside the ones with Evangeline is that we've been feeling them since we were 29.
You and I are afflicted because,
Well, yeah.
every single birthday, I remember turning 30 and crying because I hadn't accomplished
exactly
what I
right.
wanted to accomplish by the time I was 30.
So, I mean, I think that's the whole thing. It is the struggle to control the things that are beyond our control.
Yeah.
That is the anxiety. That is the thing that is about, as you aptly said, acknowledging. Here are the rules. I don't love the rules.
Yeah.
I wish the rules were different. I wish people lived longer. I wish all these things. I wish disease was not here. I wish, whatever it is.
I wish I was skinny
I was skinny still at the body of a
and could still eat
25-year-old.
my little Debbie's.
And so those are all things, but it's the acknowledgement of, okay, I wish that was what it is, but it's not. Here are the actual rules.
Yeah.
Here's the actual truth. I know this truth is, I hate to go this way because I'm not trying to be political, but I know this truth is inconvenient, but I still have to acknowledge that this
those
is
are the
the
rules,
reality.
yeah.
This is the truth. And so either numbing ourselves
Right.
to the truth by drinking or whatever else,
Yeah. Scrolling.
scrolling or whatever.
much Botox.
Or living in a fight with the truth,
Yeah.
which we're going to lose,
Yeah.
and which is going to deplete the time that we have. We will lose all this time and all this
The time
energy
we do have.
fighting on something that is not going to change.
Yeah.
That's the acknowledgement. That's the surrender. So now I can acknowledge, like you said, people die. And that's the reality of it.
Yeah.
When
When I got to the root of my fears, when I started getting through the time thing, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Here I thought I was brave. And I'm not.
Right.
I'm afraid to die.
So
I'm afraid to not exist.
we are going to die. People around us are going to die. It's like Ziggy from What About
Oh
Bob?
my God, I was just thinking that, Bob. He's like, he's right
We
on the
are
diving
all
board.
going to die.
And he's like, come
and
on,
there's
Ziggy.
nothing we can do about it.
Right. And what do you call me, Ziggy? From
Yeah.
like, I've had that awareness of every day.
So once we acknowledge and, admit and surrender to the concept that, at least come in agreement with what is truth, that we are going to die. And then now we can say, okay, so I have this life. How do I want to spend it?
Yeah.
I'm going to lose these people at some point. What I want to do today about it.
Yeah.
How do I need to acknowledge their presence in my life today? I
Yeah.
don't want to. So this is temporary. They are going to be gone at some moment. So maybe I should seize the opportunities I have now to let them know
express
that
to
I
them.
love them, that I'm sorry about this, that I forgive that I wish they would forgive this, that we
Yeah.
can be reconciled here. Whatever those things are, that I can celebrate them, that I can make sure that, that they know, and we don't lose that window and only discover those things on the other side when they've passed.
Yeah.
And same thing on our end. So, I've made decisions that if I were to pass, that there are things I would want you to know. And there are things that I would want Evangeline to know. And I would never, my mom and dad, my biological parents got divorced very early in my life. And so, and then my mom remarried, and it's a great guy, and it's a great situation, on and on and on. But I spent a lot of years in there wondering if my biological dad would love me, if he would be
Right.
proud of me, if he would like me, and on what
just
characteristics we had
natural.
together and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And I thought, I don't want Evangeline to be burdened with that. So I took steps early to say, hey, if anything ever happens to me, you will never have to wonder. I love you.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of you, and I always will be proud of you. And if I should die early, I would still be proud of you if I was still here. So
Yeah.
just know that. And that's not something she's ever going to have to question or wonder about. And so knowing that life is temporary, knowing that people pass away, I took the action that I could take, which was resolve that now. Make
Yeah.
sure that these people around you know you love them, you see the good in them, you're aware of them. Do the good you can do. And that will put you in a very happy place. I would much rather spend my energy doing that than being anxious.
Yeah.
Or
Well, if
living in
we-
denial or whatever else.
So I was going to say, if we don't surrender and we don't come to acceptance, we would spend the time that we have fighting it,
Fretting and freaking out.
fretting about it instead of expressing the love we have for the people now and doing the good that we can do now
Right.
with what we have left. By the way, if you'd have told me when we sat down today that we were going to go this deep about
yeah.
our deepest fears, but I mean, that's another one of our fears is irrelevance. Does
Yes.
anybody? Yes,
Right.
culturally, socially,
And
musically,
so-
like irrelevance is interesting, But yeah, if we,
It is. And so
If we
what
don't-
is the cure for that? If that's
So
your
I
anxiety,
think-
what's your cure
oh,
for
you
it?
mean the irrelevance? Oh, that was kind of an afterthought. I think the cure for is humility. First off,
Yeah.
what does it matter if I'm relevant or not?
Exactly right.
I mean,
Yeah.
if that isn't prideful, it doesn't mean that I don't want to write songs that matter.
Right.
Or, start an organization that really counts or does some good. But yeah,
But the fear of irrelevance
the
will,
fear of
will
irrelevance.
keep you from doing things. You're like, well, if no one's going
Yeah.
to care, then I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
If no one's going to see this, or if it's not going to reach an audience of 1 million people,
Then why do I
then
even do
I'm not
it?
going to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a subtle one that can sneak in there. And I think with everybody, especially with creative people, because that's kind of, you're sort of born with a bit of arrogance. It takes that to stand up in front of someone like Evangeline's getting ready to do and sing in the talent show when you were
Right.
12 last year, like she did, or 13. You have to have a certain amount of that. But yeah. So what if I am irrelevant? I am relevant to the people who love me.
Right.
I am relevant to the person that I can help today.
Yeah.
I am relevant because God loves me and doggone people like me, like Stuart Smalley used to say.
if you were to poll people
Mm-hmm.
and say to them, what talents do you wish you had? What are the things you wish you could do? Nearly everyone,
Mm-hmm.
the highest on the list for most people would be creativity.
Yeah.
I would like to be able to sing.
It's
I would like to
interesting.
be able to write. I would like to be able to. I would like to be funny. I
Yeah.
would like to be able to entertain.
Right.
All those kinds. I would like to be able to paint. And none of those conversations would anyone care, or in most cases, people would not stipulate, I want to be able to sing and make a lot of money and be famous. No, they just want to be able to sing.
Yeah.
And here we have some of those gifts and some of those talents, and we have them.
Yeah.
So
and they can feel like a frustration at times, or they can be accepted as the gifts that they are.
Right.
And so I think the opposite of that anxiety that we were talking about before are, and like, certain words get overused, but like surrender kind of gets overused.
Yes.
But it's really the opposite of that anxiety would be trusting in your own value, and then making a choice, which probably is daily, to rest in knowing that you're loved
Yeah.
and trying to see the good that you can do.
Right.
And it's sort of like trust and rest would be the opposite. It
Yeah.
takes trust
I would
to be
add
able to
that.
rest.
I would add to that probably gratitude. It's hard to be
Oh, yeah, I
grateful
know,
if
right?
you're always envious. It's hard to be grateful
It's a
if
gratitude
you're
blocker, envy. Yeah.
If you are constantly wanting for what you don't have, it's very difficult to acknowledge and enjoy the goodness of what you do have.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal.
But gratitude is a daily battle.
Oh yeah.
It's
an
funny
awareness of
because
it.
it's so easy how the things we don't have, or the pain, that physical pain that we are struggling with, or all those things, can be so loud in our mind. And really, I think one of the only ways to quiet them is gratitude. And like, we'll have certain days where, we're on the struggle bus, and you and I and our little family, we're pretty honest about that. And it allows us to give that person extra grace. I'll be like, I'm on the struggle bus today. And you're like, that's cool. I get it. And so gratitude, then sometimes I'll say to you, be like, I'm getting my gratitude on. I am thankful for you. You know what's great? We live in America. So it's great. I have you. I have Evangeline. My pants still fit.
Here's an interesting spin on that. So, I mentioned this idea that was in a near accident, a while back. And
You handled that well, by the way.
oh, well, thanks.
Because I know how thoughtful you are, and one of your deepest fears
Yeah, so
is
in the-
hurting somebody, which you didn't.
In the near accident,
being responsible for it.
something happens and, you almost have a wreck. And so things happen and you don't have the wreck. And all of us have a tendency after that moment, you can start replaying that moment, think about, oh my God, had this happened, or if this had happened, or this had happened, then, all the damage or all the injuries or all the things that, and so when I got up the next morning, I was still thinking about all that stuff, and I don't want to make it a bigger deal than it was. And thanks, moms, if you're listening, don't worry about it. It was okay. It wasn't like that.
It's just stuff that happens.
But you have, you're just, your mind goes to what could have happened. Yeah. And so in that moment, I thought, what do I do with this? We were in this thing, could have been an accident. I guess it could have been pretty bad had this or this or this or this happened. Yeah. And what do I want to do with that? Mm-hmm. And then I thought, okay, you can either replay this in your mind with all the worst case options.
That didn't happen.
All the worst case scenarios, all the things that really could have happened. Or I could just decide today to be grateful that didn't happen.
Right.
I could just decide today, instead of going to the worst case scenario and wearing myself down and freaking out and living with all this anxiety and fear, I could just say, okay, first of all, this is a great chance to practice even more defensive driving and more awareness and all that kind of stuff, and just to do everything I can do. But at the same level, I could say, oh man, I'm grateful that did not happen, and focus on that part of it.
How
on
cool
the
is
joy
it that that did not happen? Yeah.
To be here this morning and not, having gone through that, that's really fantastic. Yeah. And so I chose in that moment, and it was really liberating. Yeah. In that moment,
you let it go.
Okay, I'm gonna let this go. Yeah. It's not that I'm not learning from the experience. It's not that I'm not going to be even more aware and diligent and all that stuff in the future. But it's not sowing fear. Yeah. And wearing me out, and then also maybe, taking me out from being able to do other things in the future. So that's kind of where we are on some things. Yeah. So,
yeah, definitely. And you made that choice maybe that's a better way to say it, since the word surrender gets overused, but you let it go. Yeah. And you rested and trusted.
I took what I could take from it. Yeah. And then I let the rest of that fear and anxiety part of it go. Mm-hmm. So it was a bit of a choice in that matter.
I wonder what we could say to encourage people, or maybe you can just tell me what you feel about it. I'm talking about our deepest things that we need to surrender. So the passage of time, for me, fear of death, irrelevance, all those lovely, those are the deepest fears. Yes, and so I just went straight for him. Because I want to be honest like that, because everybody has them. Right. I don't want to hide them from myself anymore. Right. For me, I feel like it's a process, and I feel like there are things that keep coming to me that are helping me maybe come to some acceptance of those things. So there's even a fiction book that I just kind of looked on Amazon for. I have a certain type of book I like to read, and it was called How to Stop Time. And I thought, that's interesting. Mm-hmm. And it's a beautifully written fiction, about that topic and this story. But I feel and it's interesting though, I feel like that's something that I am trying to be open to coming to surrender, or more of surrender about. What would you say to encourage people that know of a few things they need to accept? What are some few? Yeah, well, I think I do think this thing of anxiety, and that being the warning light. So to acknowledge anxiety. Well, I think if you look at your life, and like we said, if you take a minute and you get quiet and you say, where are the biggest anxieties in my life? Yeah. These are areas where obviously there's not a surrender or acknowledgement or awareness or admittance of the rules. Yeah. And then when anxiety comes, it says something is not, I'm trying to control something I cannot control here. What do I do? That is the light. That's the warning light. Yeah. Just like, check engine or low tire pressure or whatever it is. So not overriding or overlooking that. If I have anxiety, it's saying I'm trying to control something I cannot control. Yeah. And so now what do I do with that? So talking through that with somebody? I think so. I think, there are some levels of those things that I think we can manage on our own. Yeah. When they persist, when they don't go away, when we're not successful in there, calling a professional. That's significant. That's a moment where we should meet with somebody. Because there are some that can be very crippling. Yeah, sometimes that's meeting with a friend. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that's I had an issue with a relative and it just would not
go away. I couldn't seem to get past it. I could do it intellectually. I could say,
Yeah.
I need to do this, this, or this.
Yeah.
But it was impacting me in ways that I didn't even know because of the anxiety that was connected to it. And it was really having a significantly and drastic effect on my life. And so
Is it me?
I didn't want to say any names, but I am looking at her now.
This is awkward. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But she's in this room right now. And so in that moment, I reached out to a friend and I said, I don't know, and this, that, but the moment of being able to discuss that was something, the moment of being able to talk to somebody about that.
Where it came out of your mouth to someone else.
I felt immediately a lot of relief.
In your midnight confession.
And in that midnight confession, I also had, there were some things that came out of the conversation that really, really, really helped me. Good. And I thought, oh, okay, this is great. So we're not made to bear this stuff on our own.
Right.
There are some things that I think having awareness is almost enough for us to change course and to see that. But there are some other things that are bigger or longer to, in terms of getting a hold, of our minds or whatever else, that we need that help. And so sometimes that's a friend, sometimes that's a professional of some level. Yeah. And, but it's so worth it. So it's, we're going to burn energy one way or the other.
Yeah.
And that energy can be burned in constructive, life-giving, helpful things, or that energy can be burned in anxiety, which helps no one.
Yeah, right.
We used to talk about, essentially there's two kinds of food. There's food that just burns through you and adds nothing to the body that's helpful.
Like Skittles.
Yes. Or there's food that goes in and provides nutrients. You're going to burn both of them. One of them is just going to be burning leaves, and another is going to be burning wood. And so one's going to make a lot of smoke.
Yeah.
And one's going to actually fuel things.
Yeah.
And so that's part of where we are. If we only have so many weeks to live, I would like those weeks to matter. I would like those weeks to count, not be spent and wishing I had more weeks, which it's not going to happen that way. So I only have so much income in this particular moment. That may change for better or worse.
Right.
But this is the money I have right now. So what's the best use of that money now?
Yeah.
And how do I spend that and move forward with that? This is all the time I have right now. This is all the time I have in a week. Yeah. This is all the number of people that I can really have contact with in a week. So I just need to be okay with, I can have relevance in 4 people's lives this week.
Yes.
Who are those 4 people?
Yeah, I like that. And I think one of the things that's helped us, I definitely think that talking with someone at whatever level, if you have a spouse that you're close to, if your anxiety is about your spouse, you need to find somebody else. Having
You're
a
making
friendship.
me anxious.
Likewise, I'm sure. So I think community, we talk about all the time, and friendship is key. And then, I think one of the things that's helped us is we do look at time a little bit differently. And so used to, we would have, I was talking about, I think with my sister about this, used to you'd be like, well, I'm going to do all this in my life. And then you get halfway through your life or a little over halfway and you go, okay, there's less time here. Right. So I think that's affected. We take things in smaller chunks. Like I even liked what you said, like we will try to kind of look at the month, like what do we feel like we can accomplish in April as we look at it? And then, like you said, who can I affect positively maybe this week? And so those small chunks help,
We have that anxiety a lot of times with, oh my God, I haven't seen this person in so long.
Yes, I really struggle with that.
I really get back to this person.
I have like a list in the back of my mind.
Maybe you don't.
Maybe they're fine.
I mean, there are seasons for friendships. There are seasons for relationships. There are moments, and the fact that maybe that season has passed, it does not make that less valuable or less important. There are moments for that. And so feeling anxiety that you haven't gotten together with this person or that person.
I really struggle with that.
That's all natural stuff.
And also we're not the only ones who can reach out. If that person really needed you, they would find you.
And so now it's more of a matter of just saying, okay, well, who can I get together with this? Who can I
I've got
help?
time for
What
one
can I
coffee
do?
this week. Who's
exactly
that going to be with? Yeah. No, I think that really helps.
The
That's good.
anxiety is never going to be helpful outside of just saying that something's off in your life. And here's a highlighter moment to see it.
Well, I will be anxious for our next podcast.
I will be too. I feel so good about surrendering to the idea that it will show up
Yes.
next time we're together. So
Love it. Good.
We love being with you guys, and it really is a joy, and it's so nice that we get to connect with so many of you guys outside of the podcast, and that so many of you listen to the podcast, and we talk about it with you. And we have a couple of really fantastic Dreamers Live moments that are coming up. We got Dreamers Live Austin that's coming up soon.
Yes, I'm excited. That is Saturday, the 26th of April. We're doing Dreamers Live Austin.
We've got a private Dreamers Live event that's coming up at a location we cannot disclose because it's private.
It is in May. That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll tell you about it after. I'm sure it's going to be
just
great.
as a great reminder that if you would like to do a Dreamers Live conversation or do a Dreamers Live podcast or Dreamers, all those kind of things, just message us and let us know if there are some things that you have questions about or think would be a good topic for this or whatever.
Yeah.
Let us know. And as always, we would so appreciate it if you would just take that little share button,
Yes.
copy the link, and send this conversation to somebody you think could really benefit from it.
That's the best way to help get the word out about the things we're talking about. And I think it's kind of neat, if you know somebody that maybe is struggling, particularly right now with surrendering. I mean, all of us have. This would be a good one to share and say, hey, why don't you listen to this and let's go get coffee.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it and use it as a springboard to have some better conversations in your own life.
But do take a second, even when you're done with this podcast, and have that thought. Get a cup of coffee, get a beer, get a whiskey, whatever it is. Sit down for a second and think, where am I most anxious in my life? Where does anxiety continue to pop up over and over again? And what is that anxiety saying about where I am? What is it I'm really most fearful about? And is it something that I cannot control? If it is, then how can I accept that? And if it is something you can control, then let's do it. Let's put things in order. Let's get things organized. Let's conquer those things. And because the things that we often fear the most are the things that usually have a solution. And if you just take a risk on it, it'll get there.
Good.
Yeah.
Good advice.
All right, friends, until we meet again, we thank you for listening and peace out.
See you soon.